Good morning. Can I have everyone seated, please? My name is Julieanna Richardson, and I want to welcome everyone here this morning. You are in for quite a treat today. I'd like to just have, by the showing of hands, I'd like to see who are teachers. Can I have all the teachers hold their hands up? And can I have all the students hold their hands up now? Okay, I want all the teachers to say, "I'm committed to learning." And I want all the students to say, I'm committed to teaching, sorry for the teachers, sorry. That's the right one, okay. Okay. And for the students, I want you to say, "I'm committed to learning." So let's do, when I go this way and this way, for the teachers, for the students. I'm committed to teaching. I can't hear you. I'm committed to learning. That's good, guys. Let's show up those teachers. I'm committed to teaching. I'm committed to learning. I'm committed to teaching. I'm committed to learning. I'm committed, come on, guys. I'm committed to teaching. You know what, students? We got to teach those teachers how to teach. Anyway, today it's stories and learning. People have come from all over the country here today to be with you today. San Francisco, Chicago, Atlanta, DC, New York, and of course your hometown, Los Angeles. We want you to learn about a life outside of your own, a world that is full of possibilities. We want you to learn of all the careers and choices that are available to you. It's a big world out there. And someone here actually has lived your story and will be able to show you that the world is full of possibilities, your own possibilities. Now, just briefly, because we've got a huge program planned for you today, I am founder and executive director of a program called the HistoryMakers. We are the nation's largest African-American video history archive. Now, I know archives sound old and dusty and not much use, but let's call it living history. And whether you are African-American or you're Filipino or you're Japanese or Latino or Hispanic or, any other Polish, any other ethnic minority, essentially what we're trying to do is uncover in our own world, the African-American experience, but for others whose histories have been lost, we want to show that it's important to uncover those stories as well. I would like to just acknowledge a few of the people who've made today possible. Charmaine Jefferson, who's executive director of the California African American Museum, where we are. We could not have done this program without Chris D. Jimenez E. West's help. He was extremely helpful to us. And I heard some of the teachers saying that this is the first time that they've actually been in this museum. And I'm wondering, how many people here, is this your first time? See? This is a beautiful, beautiful facility. We want you to take and look around and enjoy, and hopefully this will not be your last visit. I want to take the opportunity to thank Emma Hippolito, Mary Miller from UCLA Center X program, Dr. Joel Colbert, Dr. Keith Howard, also who helped with the curriculum. I'm not going to list everyone, which I was actually going to do just because we're sort of short on time. But I would like to thank Inspiring Minds, who did the event planning, Yvonne White and Company, Classic Party Rentals, Paul Brock, Larry Crow, Matthew Hickey, Wendy Giorgiani, Scott Stearns, Janelle Jennings, Fred Adams, and our volunteers. Without this, we could not have done. They've traveled here, as I said, from Chicago and Atlanta to be here to make this a successful event. I also would like to, because I see them sitting right in front of me, Our panelists from this morning, and some of the people that you will be hearing today, I see Ruth Beckford, who was a Katherine Dunham dancer, Maury Toner, who's a cartoonist, Cynthia St. James, Marie Calloway, Bernice Baines Brown, and Ruth Love. So you're really in for a treat today, and I really want you to take this opportunity because you don't know what you have here, and hopefully you will come away with a new sense of what the African American experience is and how you too can do something with your lives. We would not be here. We've done this program in Chicago for the last 4 years. Our goal is to build the nation's largest African American video history archive, as I was saying. We have built this from 70 interviews our first year to now 1,200 interviews, having done interviews in over 80 US cities. Our website, www.thehistorymakers.com, is getting 4 million hits per month. And we encourage you to go and look and explore, and we're going to have training sessions for teachers, on that. But we would not be here in Los Angeles today were it not for the MCI Foundation, who's an organization also committed to education. And I wanted to take this opportunity to introduce Elisa Liang, who is, like me, a lawyer, who actually worked with the Department of Justice and had a stellar career there before joining MCI, and I'd like to bring her to the stage. Elisa.
Thank you, Julieanna, and good morning. I just want to say on behalf of MCI how pleased and proud I am to be here and to have been able to support the HistoryMakers, Julieanna and her efforts, because their mission, their focus on education and on bringing the voices of African Americans to the attention of the nation and the world is one that we wholeheartedly support and believe in. We at MCI, through our community relations organization and throughout the company, have a passionate commitment not just to community, but to education of our youth and to diversity. And we're so pleased to be able to have provided support for today's events and for the general mission of the HistoryMakers. At MCI, we provide not just financial support for this mission, but we also, through our foundation, provide the power of our people, the intellectual capital, to really stand behind that commitment. And by that, I'm referring to a flagship program that the MCI Foundation has supported since 1997. It's called the Marco Polo program. There are sessions throughout today that will introduce the teachers and pre-service teachers who are here today to better understand what the program is about. I invite you to attend those sessions or go online and learn more about it, because really its mission is about providing, through the technology of online education, the capacity to each teacher and each student around the world to interact with the highest quality educational materials that there are, because the MCI Foundation has reached out and formed a consortium with the nation's most preeminent organizations in the fields of education in the different subject matters that there are. We've partnered with the John F. Kennedy Center for the Performing Arts for arts education, the National Council on Economic Education for economics, the National Endowment for the Humanities to support the subject matter of humanities, the National Council of Teachers of Mathematics in the field of mathematics, the International Reading Association and the National Council of Teachers of English for reading and language arts, the American Association for the Advancement of Science, and the National Geographic Society for science and geography, respectively. So through that effort, through the Marco Polo program, we bring forth our commitment in a real way to support the education of not just the nation's youth, but around the world. I'd like to just say about today's events that I hope you're all as excited as I am to be here today. I look forward to the day. I think it's going to be wonderful. I hope all of you, each of you, leave here today inspired, empowered, excited, and that you look to your left and look to your right and look in the mirror and realize that each of you are the future history makers of tomorrow. And as I look out across the audience, that's a thrilling thought to me. So thank you very much, Julieanna, for the opportunity, and I look forward to the day.
Thank you. As I said, we would not be here if it weren't for MCI, and I want to specifically also thank Don Brzezicki and Ron Harrison and Earl Taylor, who were part of our team, and we had many, many, many conference calls. I would like to now take the opportunity to bring to the stage Silvia Rousseau. When we were planning this program, we were told that we had to have her as part of our opening session, that the session would not appropriately start if we didn't have her. Sylvia was a principal at Santa Monica High School and has gone to LAUSD and become now the superintendent of Local District 7. So without further ado, Sylvia, come on up.
Good morning. I want you to know I take instructions well, that this is to be short, so I'm going to try to say something very meaningful. Whenever I think about history, I'm always drawn to the words of John Henry Clark, and it might help us as we prepare ourselves for this session when he says, "History is a clock that people use to tell their political and cultural time of day, and it is a compass they use to find themselves on the map of human geography." I'm very struck by those as we have this partnership between this wonderful, the museum, HistoryMakers, and UCLA, and certainly Los Angeles Unified School District. This is particularly dear to my heart because the classroom, every one of the children who walks through the doors of our schools in a place called school comes as the embodiment of the history that has created them. And they embody the culture that people through that history have carved out. They've carved out meaning and relationships and meaning of life. And every child that walks through our doors brings that. And every teacher that encounters those children brings a history as well. And so as we try to mediate this space called school, and we talk about closing achievement gaps and all those things, it really boils down to mediating this place called school, where we all examine our own histories, and our histories in the way that they've related to one another, and that we really help children to discover the capital they bring. They come from a people through a history, whether it's been fraught with oppression, but they've created bright moments of meaning of life, and they've passed it down to their children through language and through the culture that they bear. And this is the capital every child brings to the classroom to be negotiated in the process that we call learning. So the more that we as educators can know about that history, examine our own history, and when there have been places of connection and wonder and cooperation, and even when there have been places of strife, if we're able to examine those honestly and accept the capital that every child brings, we're able to mediate this place called school and create an opportunity. I think we're right on the cusp right here in our history. We have the opportunity to create a new history for America. So I welcome this opportunity for our youth, our young people, to experience this day. And I welcome the opportunity for our teachers to experience this day so that we begin to get a new frame of how we become history makers by embracing the history of the past. So thank you.
Thank you. We really need to get started. I'd like to have Audrey Epps come up to give directions. While she's coming up, I'd like my history makers to stand. Can you please stand so people can see you? These are the people who are presenting. They've even volunteered their time and effort, flown themselves here. And I want you to pay a lot of attention to them. Okay, Audrey. Where'd she go? Oh, okay. The one thing that I want to say is that we have a fully packed program, and we need everyone's help to move from one session to the next very quickly. And this afternoon, we have 2 keynote speakers. As you see, Della Reese, who you know, a lot of people know from Touched by an Angel, though she was a vocalist before that, and Irvin Magic Johnson. So everyone has really come out, so you're in for a treat today. Okay, Audrey?
Good morning. Our facilitators, panelists, and moderators, we have our volunteers that will help you get to your rooms. I would like to say that our theater, if you notice your subjects where you're going to go, it either says conference room, theater, those natures. If all the students will look to make sure where they're supposed to be in their first session, that would be very good. The theater is over to my right and your left. The Gallery 1, based on the main entrance. The Sculpture Court. Conference Room B. The tours will be out of this area. And the restrooms, which is most important, I'm sure you want to know about those, are over in that area. If you have any problems or questions, look for someone in black with a red button on that says a volunteer with the HistoryMakers. We'll try to make sure that we help you and make your day very good and very educational. Thank you.
I just have one other announcement before we break. We have a proclamation from Assemblyman Jerome Miller. We have a representative here.
And I was told to be brief, so I will take no more than 30 seconds of your time. But on behalf of Assemblyman Jerome Horton and the 51st Assembly District, we just wanted to salute the HistoryMakers for taking this moment to open our eyes to the value of the oral traditions of our history, of the sages of our community, and also to encourage us to capture some of the oral histories that we have in our own families and communities, because in every way we are all history makers, and our history, our personal history, is something that we want to pass on to the generations today and from here to come. Thank you.
Okay, let's get started.